Ubalde. I'm the CEO and founder of SizeUp. And SizeUp helps banks better serve their small business customers. Now, as everybody in this room knows, banking small businesses is difficult because there's so many of them and they're so different. Some banks will take a one-size-fits-all approach, as if somehow all small businesses are the same. But as you know, because they're different, this doesn't work. Other banks take an approach where they think about, okay, we'll focus on specific industry sectors, such as manufacturing or retail or business services. But even within manufacturing, you could manufacture clothes, candy, and medical devices, and they're all quite different, even if they're all manufacturing. At SizeUp, we take a different approach. It's a data-driven approach. And what that allows us to do is to be able to provide completely hyper-local, unique, custom analysis for any one of your small business customers. Let me say that a different way. We wouldn't look at a business and say, you're a retailer in Italy. We'd say, you're a florist in the Porta Garibaldi neighborhood of Milan. And let us tell you some things you don't even know about your own business. I'll show you how we do that. Later on, I'll show you some examples of how we've implemented this for Wells Fargo and for Deutsche Bank. But right now, we'll show it to you on the SizeUp website. So let's say that you are a coffee shop, a cafe, in Oakland. So you or your relationship manager could enter in some information you know about yourself off the top of your head, such as your revenue. So let's say that you make $800,000. What happens is SizeUp super crunches millions of data points from the local to the national level to see how your cafe, again, not restaurants and cafe or beverages, but specific to cafes, how you compare from the city to the national level. And as you can see here, this cafe outperforms or average cafes at the city, county, metro, state, and US level. Down below is a heat map. And this heat map in red shows the areas where there's the most money being earned by cafes, and yellow is areas where it's less. You can see that's Oakland right there in the center. And this is valuable if I'm thinking about where am I going to open up my next cafe? Or perhaps I want to target a marketing campaign. Or maybe what I want to do is go to those areas in darkest red to figure out what those cafes are doing that I'm not. Show you another variable, which is the year started. So let's say that we started our cafe in 2010. What we did was we just plotted the openings of all of the cafes across the entire country. And you can see the line moving up. This means it's a growing industry. If the line was moving down, it would be a declining industry, and that business should think about making different decisions about its future, just as you as a bank may want to think about a different future for them in a declining industry. If we wanted to turn off actually the national or state data, we can still see there's upward growth in the San Francisco Bay Area. Or salary. I'll make this interactive. How much would you like to pay your average cafe worker each year in dollars? How much? $100,000. Okay, let's try that. Your employees love you. Because as we can see here, the typical cafe pays about, I think that's probably around, it's because the scale is so far off. So I think that's like around 18,000. We'll see how that number actually affects some of the numbers later. All right? And we can see the places where salaries cost them are the highest, places like San Francisco. Or how about the number of employees? So in this case, for our employees, we have 15 employees. Do we all agree that's a small business, right? 15 employees? But what we can see is it's not a small cafe. So the whole idea of what's big and what's small really gets turned on its head when you look at it through the lens of data. You can see actually when you pay your employees $100,000 each and the average is $70,000, your return on investment is quite poor. But we let them know, right? You can see what we do is we triangulate data so that we can make sense of the other information. I can't get into all of the different variables and key performance indicators because there's short time, but there's a lot of great information. I'll pause on that. Actually, let's pause on that one. So this we're looking at local, the turnover, the replacement of employees. So let's say, not that it would be the case in your situation that your employees were leaving so often, but let's say that he was agonizing because he had to replace 5% of his employees every year. Because it takes time, it takes expense. And he's worried about that, but actually there's no reason for him to be concerned because for the typical cafe, they have to replace over 12% of their employees. What we're trying to do is make the invisible information visible to small businesses, providing them access to information they never would have had before so they can make smarter decisions through data. So anyways, I can't talk about all of them, but at the end, you see it only took us a few minutes to do this. We'll click on Summary View, and we get this overall dashboard of our business's health. We can see here what it is we're measuring. In the middle are the numbers for our business. And then on this side, you don't have to have an MBA or have a background in quantitative analytics to understand that red is bad and green is good. This is designed for regular, unsophisticated, just normal small businesses. They can be the corner grocery store. They can be the local boutique clothing business. They can be an accountant who would be more sophisticated. All right? Second major feature of SizeUp helps the business identify finding customers, suppliers, and understanding the competitive landscape. So let's say that we are a physical therapist in the Miami area. So now we've identified where the other competing physical therapists are. But we want to sell. Who do we want to sell to? For our focus, we're going to target the elderly care homes. So now we know where our potential customers are. We see names and lists of them. We also buy supplies, right? So we're going to buy medical devices. So medical supply, equipment. Now we see where our potential vendors are. Now, in an ideal world, perhaps what we find is an area where there's not so much competition, but there's plenty of customers. Here I can see, you can see there's a lot of orange with lots of competition, but I can see areas in green where there's not so much red, up there and a little bit more in the southwest. This may be an area where I really want to focus my attention to get the highest return on my investment. I can also see these businesses, I can click on them and get additional information about them. Right? I have a phone number so I can make that sales call. Now this is fine for business to business, but what if I'm a business to consumer company? So in this case, what we'll do is we overlaid healthcare services, and convalescent nursing home care. Now you can see area in red are the areas where there's the most consumer expenditure. So I can target these areas so I can get that disposable income. You don't have to be an expert in geographic information systems when you make it this easy for regular small businesses. Third major feature of SizeUp helps the business identify how they can optimize their advertising. So in this case, let's say that we are an architect, and this will remain interactive. Any city you want in the United States. Yes, you. Denver, all right, Denver. All right, so Denver, Colorado, architects. We click on advertising. Now we see these are the areas where dentists are making the most turnover. But maybe that's not really what I'm interested in. Maybe what I'm looking for is the best opportunity. So we'll select the most underserved markets. And now you see the analysis changes. It's more the communities that are a little bit farther to the southeast. I can also customize this. So for example, for architects, maybe you'd be willing to go farther than 8 miles to get the right architect. You can change the distance. Or if you're an architect and you were trying to target higher income households, we can change the demographics so we're reaching exactly that segment. Every small business is different. They know what they need better than you or any of your relationship managers will ever know. This allows them to be able to customize it based on their needs. So these are the 3 key features of SizeUp: the ability to optimize advertising, to find customers, suppliers, and understand the competitive landscape, and then benchmark the business versus direct competitors. I'll show you an example, I'll show you 2 examples of how we've done this in partnership with banks. So this is, you can see this at wellsfargoworks.com. This is they call it the competitive intelligence tool. And here you can see we just put it right within their website so that their prospective customers, they're using this for lead generation, can access the tool. Showing another example, this is a project we launched last year in partnership with Deutsche Bank, also in partnership with BCSG. And for those who can read German, you'll see that there's a number of similar features. So again, the same 3 tools. This is an example of analysis of car washes in Berlin. So for revenue, for a year started, and so on. It's still the same 3 tools. Okay. So SizeUp helps across the entire life cycle of a business. So everything from when it first starts and it's thinking about beginning, all the way to growing into new locations. What that provides is an opportunity to introduce your bank's products and services at these key decision-making moments. So let's say that you had a retail customer and you were able to identify that they may need small business services and products before they've gone down to City Hall or they've registered with the government. Or as they launch a small business loan, or as they grow a larger line of credit, or as they expand to new locations, real estate loans. So as I mentioned, banks like the fact that we can introduce products and services. It can be used for customer acquisition. It can be used for customer retention. So we're going to provide this to you, our customers. If you ever leave our bank, then you lose access to these services. It's also great for increased engagement, both digitally and in branch location. So digitally, competitiveness is always changing, right? We're updating that data, much of it updated each fiscal quarter, and we can proactively send messages saying, your business is doing better, your business is doing worse. So this is a way for them to say, oh, either way, I want to know why, what's going on, what's different. In the branch location, what we're hearing from a number of our customers is a lot of the relationship managers are often fresh out of school, they don't have a lot of experience, but imagine all of this information on an iPad when they're having a customer conversation. Well, they start looking like geniuses, even though they may not know anything about the industry. It's based on looking smart on our data and analysis. And this is the idea of being a stronger partner. You're adding value in a way that is as a trusted partner. As I mentioned, we're working with some great organizations like Wells Fargo, Works.com, as you can see it there on that website, Deutsche Bank, the U.S. Small Business Administration, the White House under the Obama administration, Bloomberg, and we're going to be announcing some future launches in other European markets. We're here to meet with you. We want to talk to innovative banks who want to build this type of relationship where they're helping their small businesses succeed so that they, of course, need more of your products and services. So if you're one of those innovative banks that want to bring this to your geographic markets, please let us know. So I'll take questions. Yes?
What about the data in the US and Germany where you partnered with Deutsche Bank? Any differences, quality of data? What are your impressions?
Yeah, so in every market that we go into, we need to localize the data. And so the first one that we built was for the United States, and I've been working with US data for a long time, so I knew mostly where things were. And we built that. It's a mix of public and private and proprietary data that we run through our algorithms to be able to create the analysis. There was some skepticism. People weren't quite sure, well, can we do this in other countries? Well, actually, we figured out that model of how to do that. And one of the things that's important that we discovered is, well, people said, oh, you can do it in the US. But actually what we discovered is there's a lot of data, including in Europe, because of rules related to transparency, that's even better than what we could find in the US. But in each situation, we have to localize the data. You can actually see these are the data buckets that we have to fill. If we can't fill them, then we have problems. And there's certain markets we can't do. But most of Europe is good. Part of countries in the Middle East, Asia, Latin America, Africa is a bit difficult for us right now. So, and we also localize it to the local language. If you have any other questions or around for the conference, we enjoy having the conversation with you. Thanks so much.